What's up, everybody? Welcome back to 1/6 Fix for the second episode of Origin Story. I'm your host, Marco G, aka the 6-Scale Scoundrel, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Gigi. Gigi, say hi.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, she hates when I say 6-Scale Scoundrel, but...
Because you can't say it. Anyway.
Anyways, so we've got
the show's already derailed.
You know, it always starts pretty fucked up.
Off the rails.
We've got some very special guests today. So, well, one very special guest, one, add-on, basically. So, our very special guest, Shauna, who is Ben Thomas's fiancée, and Ben Thomas, who has been a long time, how would you describe yourself in terms of the 6-Scale community?
Just a vocal contributor in the chats. Just having a good time with that blue wrench lately, and and poking everybody. Gigi says the chat's more fun. I'm trying to see what it's like on the other side. So.
Oh my gosh! See, we're already getting some feedback here, but no, it's beautiful to have you on this side of the screen finally. And yeah, and Shauna, thank you again for making time to come on here and be a part of this nonsense. So.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, awesome. Today's combo will be pretty kind of loose. We've got a few questions we want to run through, but it's really, the structure of this, series is just for us to talk about what got us into collecting. It kind of has like roots back to our childhood. So we kind of want to go way back in the day to see, what really got us to being grown men in their mid-30s that spend hundreds of dollars on these figures. And so,
yes.
And we've got our significant others here to kind of keep us grounded and to roast us when we're getting out of line. So
100%. We said they're the only pretty things that are allowed to sit in front of the figures, right?
That's right.
Beautiful women, we're totally cool with it.
Only thing that could obstruct the figures, absolutely. So I think we're going to start off with a little warm-up of some newlywed game questions.
Awesome.
Now, you both are engaged currently, is that correct?
We are, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. Do you have a date currently for the wedding?
We're
getting into it.
Not really. Ben proposed as we were building our first home. So thinking we might want, a fence and some grass and stuff first before we jump into getting married. He's not going anywhere.
It's a pretty open lot at the moment. So without that fence, we're feeling a little overexposed. But
And how long have you guys been together?
Coming up on 5 years this fall.
Wow, congratulations. Okay, all right, so next step in. No, I love those priorities, though. I think we were kind of in the same boat where we, wanted to make sure our housing situation was situated and then, tie the knot. So it's always
100%.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of a lull in the figure buying while we were trying to come up with that cash for the house, but 100% worth it.
So. Yeah, no, I guess I'm fortunate that before we, got our first place and we got married, I wasn't into the figure collecting yet, so didn't have to make those trade-offs just yet. But I couldn't imagine how those conversations would go now. So
Gigi's like, if I only knew what I was in for.
So really quickly, let me address the chat, and then we'll hop into these newlywed show questions. Okay, so we've got Quinn today. Quinn, bring it on. Heck yeah, I love that enthusiasm. Thank you for joining, Quinn. We've got the sweet angel, Mark Pearson. Oh, Mark, you're the best. Thank you for joining. We've got Sam. Now, Sam, I don't recognize this name. Is this someone from your guys' side?
I see him a lot in the Collecting Weekly Auxiliary and stuff like that. So thanks for coming by, Sam. That's awesome.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it. We've got Gigi in here. Okay, thanks for keeping the chat engaged. We've got Zach in here. Ben is super handsome. Zach, I agree. I told you he's camera ready, bro. I told you he's ready for prime time.
I've been taking notes from Dean, so I don't know.
That's a high bar, though, bro.
That's a high bar.
None of us can beat that, but as long as you, I won't say that, but as long as you use some of the choice language that Dean normally does towards me, then we'll be good.
We'll save that for After Dark.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
So we got our buddy Gold. Hey, thanks for joining, Gold. Appreciate it, man. Hopefully your hangover is coming along like mine is. We've got the sweet angel, Danny Lee. What's up, sweet angels? Yeah, thanks for joining, Danny. We've got Travis Hayes. Hey, Ben.
Very awesome. Thanks for coming by, Travis.
But not to us, though. What the heck, Travis?
That's awesome.
Thank you for joining. We got H Green 1313. Hello, everyone. Hey, thank you so much for joining. Let's see. We got Mark Pearson. We've got Matthew. Another
Hey, Matt.
Ben. Oh my gosh, you're a
He-
star, Ben. All right.
Matt works with me over at Sorta Pro Painters here in Calgary. Thanks for coming by, Matt. That's awesome.
Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate you joining. We got baby girl.
My girl.
707. Oh, hey Jay, what's going on?
Nice.
Thank you for joining.
She's also here to troll the chat.
Yeah, she's here to talk a little smack. So yeah, beautiful. Well, Gigi, this is your segment. So how about you go ahead and pick the first question we're gonna warm up here with?
Okay, so the first question is, what role would your significant other be in a movie?
Can you expand on that a little?
Like
bit?
who I think you should play, like Ross from Friends.
Oh, like
in a
what
movie.
character would we play in a movie?
Yeah.
Like what? Okay.
Literally what I
So yeah.
That's a hard one. That's a hard first question.
I know.
So
Damn.
you write it down. You can use your phones, and we'll give you about maybe 30
your phone?
seconds to write this down.
Oh, no, I don't.
No worries.
And you can, use whatever works perfectly.
We'll let her go first. We'll let her go
There you
first.
and
and then-
anyone in the
That's
chat
right.
can also, I mean, I think you know these people enough, these people, to know what role would they play in a movie, or you don't have your...
No, I don't have a pen.
You said you'd use your phone.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So
Perfect.
right there.
Shauna,
That's hard.
Perfect.
Some more background on Gigi and my relationship. She threatens me with quitting the show, like pretty much every time we stream. So it's either that or divorce. So we're we bicker a lot. So hopefully that doesn't make you uncomfortable. But
This
I mean,
is a hard one.
That is a hard one. I'm hoping for Batman, but I don't know if I'm that lucky. Yeah.
spoilers,
for
Ben.
you.
Spoilers, Ben. Okay. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is a really, really
Yeah,
tough
we
one.
can go with
Okay.
another one if this one's too hard.
Yeah, let's skip this one
Okay,
because
okay.
this is going to involve more than 30
Also
seconds.
because
I
I
think.
don't know people's names, so I
That's
I
fair.
like
I was
characters.
going to say me, Kumail Nanjiani from Eternals, but no,
I could
I'm
see that.
joking about that. I'm
I
kidding
could see
about
that.
got
You might
so
be more
good.
ripped under that black shirt than we think.
No,
Nobody
definitely
knows.
He's not, he's
Dad
not.
bod said
A lot of my friends say that Marco reminds them of Ross from Friends.
Interesting.
The
wow.
most
First of all,
pouty man
They said
ever.
Corey
Corey
Matthews
Matthews?
from Boy Meets World. Wow, that's dirty, Jay. That's dirty.
Is that the one with the curly hair?
With the curly hair,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
With the
We also have a shout out for Shauna as well. That's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Uh-oh. Okay, so
Okay,
So
the
Zach
next-
says, hold on one second. Zach says, check your messages. I'm assuming this is about audio, so let me slide in here
Zach,
while you
we
read
don't
out
need that
that.
negativity this morning, okay?
Right.
Okay, which of the two of you is best at pinching pennies?
That's hard.
That's a hard one.
Okay.
We're okay to just answer, or should we? Is that one you
so-
want us?
Do you want us to write it down?
Yeah,
Write it
Out
down?
if you can.
just so
yeah.
you don't
Yep.
cheat.
No worries.
I'll
'Kay.
go first, because I already wrote mine down. I'm going to say that Marco is going to say me, and I also say me.
Correct, yeah. Gigi is the correct answer.
It gives me a thrill, like when I save money, I was like, oh my god. If I'm under budget, I was like, wow.
You're thrift shopping, right? You love the
Yes.
you love the thrift shopping.
I get like a rush. I feel like that's how you guys feel with the toys or the hot toys and stuff like that, the collectibles.
Probably.
I just get a real rush. I go in there and it's like,
Okay, so what's the best format for them to go?
okay, so Shauna, you're gonna say what Ben put down, right?
Yeah, I think that's
We
right.
never get
That's
this
right. Oh
right.
gosh, we're
Gold,
so
gold.
Oh, other way
we're so
around.
messy over here. Okay, so all right, so Shauna, say what Ben wrote down, and then Ben will show his answer or show you his answer.
I want to say that Ben would say I'm better because I'm the one who sets the budget and does our budgeting, and he's totally an enabler. Like I will set a budget and say we need to stay within it, and then I'll be like, "Oh, but I saw this pink accent chair," and he's like, "Oh, just get it. It's fine." He's like, "We'll make it work. It's fine."
Yeah. That's because I pre-ordered Spider-Man the other night, right? I'm softening the blow.
Yeah, Marco was like, "Oh, get your camera that you want. That's close to $2,000." And I was like, "What do you want? What do you want?" Okay, and Ben, what did you say?
I actually said me. I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Creating the drama. But no, I mean, she is definitely our master budgeter in the house for sure. but she also knows how to buy a good mirror when she wants one. I asked a couple weeks ago if there was such a thing as too many mirrors on one floor, and that same week we came home with 3 new mirrors. So don't ask. Don't ask.
So Ben, really quick, sorry to be disruptive here. I'm going to have Gigi continue this. Zach and I are trying to sort through some audio stuff, so if I'm taking a screenshot of the computer, then don't be weirded out by that. But okay, Gigi, continue.
Don't be weirded out.
I'm a little weird. I'm a little weird about it.
Just a little bit.
This one's a good one. What one item of yours would your significant other love to get rid of? It has to be one item only. I know there's a lot. One item only.
Oh my goodness.
I'll put my answer down first.
So tell me the question again.
What one item of yours would your spouse love to get rid of?
Okay.
I feel like I know what you're gonna say.
I don't even know. That's a hard one. By the way, this was not rehearsed at all. I was supposed to get a show sheet. No rehearsal at all. This is off the cuff.
These are off the cuff, man. These are, no one gets to see these. I haven't even seen these questions, so. Okay, so should we go first? Should I?
Did you write it down?
Yeah, I wrote it
Okay,
down.
you write yours down.
So what item I would get rid of?
Yeah, for me.
Marco?
Okay.
I said, do you say it first? Or do I say it first?
I think you say it first and then we match.
No, you say it first and then I'll show. I think that's how it goes.
I'm so fucking confused
What
now.
item would I get rid of yours? What item
This
would I
makes no
get rid
sense
of
to me.
yours?
Okay, what item?
Yeah.
And I wrote down that.
Yeah. Do I say it? I say what I would get rid of yours?
Fuck, I don't know.
Okay, I said that I would get rid of your Venom.
Oh, no, okay. And I wrote down you'd get rid of my PS5.
Oh, fuck. I never
Oh.
remember the PS5 because he doesn't play it. And I said that Marco would say my old sweaters.
Old sweaters.
My sweaters. You hate my sweaters.
No. No,
What did you say?
I wrote down your entire office in the back. It's a nightmare. We just need to burn it down and start from scratch. So a little background on us.
We said one thing, sir.
Yeah. So I'm like the neat one in the I'm very neat and organized. Gigi is like a little tornado. She just where anything lands, it lands. And so, are you? Personal question here: are you guys like that in any way? Are you kind of similar in you're both neat or both a little messy?
We are lucky in the fact that we are both super neat. We kind of
Ben, I want that so desperately.
we clean when we're stressed. We clean when we're relaxing. We just kind of clean on the fly. So our place is never messy. But we also have a cat and we don't have any kids. So I think that contributes to the whole keeping it clean. Anyways, yeah, that's right. But no, I'm super lucky because I was always a bit of a clean freak. So I'm happy that Shauna kind of keeps that going with me. So.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so
What about
so
you?
we took so you guys go next. So I guess maybe Shauna first. Or?
Shauna, what would you get rid of
I'm gonna say this still counts because we just got rid of it. I wanted to get rid of his Dodge Challenger car. And the reason I wanted to get rid of it is because we don't drive it enough. It took up so much space in our driveway, I could barely get my SUV in there. And I felt like it was a money pit. And I just didn't love it. I didn't like driving it. And he impulsively bought it right before our relationship became serious.
Yeah.
And he called me, and I was sitting in the living room, and he's like, so I'm going to come home with something. And I was like, okay. He's like, so hear me out. He's like, you know how I went to the dealership today? I'm like, yeah. He's like, so I bought a Challenger. And I was like, no, you didn't. He's like, no, I did. I'm going to be home in 5 minutes. Be watching. And sure enough, he pulls up in this freaking sports car. And then the first snowfall, I had to drive him to work for a month because we couldn't get it out of the driveway. So
It's too much power, man. It's too much power. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I slapped that Batman license plate on the front. She looked fantastic in the driveway for 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
Ben, did you roll up with sunglasses? Say, take a picture video.
Oh yeah, I was styling. I was styling. For the record, my priorities were a little different then. I didn't think we'd be able to. Thanks, buddy. Didn't think we'd be able to buy a house anytime soon when I bought that car. So it was like I had a little extra money from work. You know, I wasn't doing too much collecting at the time. So, a cool car to drive around in I thought was going to be fun. The weird part about the Challenger was, many people would be like, oh, like that's it's going to be a chick magnet, right? That's only the male perspective. Yeah. I literally got checked out by, I'm not kidding, 50-year-old dudes constantly. That was it. That was the only people that looked at that car were the 50-year-old dudes as I passed. All the girls didn't care, and she hated it. She was like, it's like driving a boat. It's not fun.
Super loud too. I think that's when I noticed guys like driving loud cars. I don't even look at the car. I'm just like, why?
Yeah, no. It actually wasn't too loud. Thankfully, like it had a bit of a smaller engine than some of those crazy ones that you see out there. So yeah, we weren't neighborhood watch folks, right? Like so.
Yeah. Ben, I used to drive a little Porsche Boxster that Gigi hated. And the same thing, like everyone would be, oh, that's such a chick magnet, and only guys would ever give me compliments. And I'm like, you felt good about the guy compliments, but
100%, yeah,
not
right?
Not the perceptions.
Well, and then I sold it right before they announced the new Batman movie with Pattinson, and his vehicle in that movie looks like a Dodge Challenger. So I'm like, I could have got more money for it. I should have waited,
I'm like, get it out of here.
Shauna, you put a free sticker on it. I would have been just like, just take it.
That's right.
That's right.
Here's the keys. They're in the ignition.
Yeah.
Take her away.
Oh man.
Okay, so Ben, what did you put that she would?
Really quickly, let me just address this. Sorry for not giving you my full attention. Been messing with the sound. Zach and Danny have been sending me pointers. So guys in the chat, let me know if it's sounding better. I adjusted both Ben and Shauna and ours, so just let me know.
And for my next stream, whenever that is, like I'm working on this program. The Blue Yeti Nano that I got doesn't have a gain button, which is silly. It has a gain program, but the program doesn't seem to want to work. So if I'm a little overgained, I apologize. We will work on that for the next
no, not
the
at
next
all,
round.
Well,
Shauna, we don't know what any of this means.
This is real lo-fi,
It's not
When if you're on with Zach, then he'll get you dialed in, right?
Zach was
speaking
helping a
of
lot,
which, he said, house looks like no one lived there. Okay, so sorry, Ben, you are up
So
next.
what did you say Shauna said would get rid of yours?
She
said she would get rid of the car, but what did you think that she said?
I thought she would have said the couch in the basement, in the man cave couch. She hates that thing. She says it's not comfortable. I'm like, let's go watch a movie together. She's like, I don't want to sit on that thing. Let's go sit upstairs on the pink stuff, right? So, I thought you would have wanted to get rid of the couch, but I mean, the Challenger is honestly a better pick. That was a bit of a thorn in our life side for a few years. So.
And so Ben, what did you say you would get rid of for Shauna?
Shauna's? I actually said a recent mirror that she purchased that's in our back hallway. It's got a golden edge, and I hate gold just in general.
hate
Just
gold,
like
really?
the color gold on furniture. I don't love it.
It's so
I feel
in
like
right now, though, right? Like
I know. I'm not
10 years ago,
fashionable.
and now-
I'm like mid-30s. I'm not fashionable. I don't care. I'm like, for me, I spent years trying to get gold out of my apartments, and now it's slowly starting to come back. So
gold and
right?
pink everywhere.
Yeah, golden pink, silver. I mean, it does look classy. Don't love it, but it's at the back door, so we're okay.
Okay, so we're...
Shauna, what did you say Ben was gonna say?
I thought he was going to say this purple accent chair that we have. I went to one of my girlfriend's houses and she had it in storage and I fell in love with it. And she was like, I would be so happy for you to have this chair because I know you would display it in your home. And I was super over the moon excited. And I came home with it and I set it up and Ben just was like, yeah, cool. And I was like, you hate it, don't you? And he's like, yeah, it's not my favorite. So then it made its way out onto our front kind of deck thing. And he still hates it, so I think it's It's like one step away from getting thrown in the construction bin in front of the house.
Well, now I have to look at it every time I pull up to the house. I can't even have to wait till I get inside. Now I just see it. So that's a good one, actually. That purple chair would have. I actually think I'd keep the mirror over the chair. She's not wrong. She's not wrong.
Oh boy, that's awesome. Okay, so what's the score now at the end of these rounds?
0-0. I don't think
Okay.
we've gotten anything.
All right, so we're
Nobody's
just
gotten it
going
right.
to take the L for both of us. I'd say we're 20 minutes in, so maybe let's just move on to the rest of the questions. But that was a good warm up. Still don't know how to really play this game, and I don't know that I'll ever know. Shauna, one thing about me is I'm just dumb as a rock. I can't remember what I had for breakfast. So luckily Gigi here keeps me grounded. So last thing I'll say about sound. So. Gold is saying, can we completely mute me? That's probably best for the show, so maybe I'll just stay quiet here. Speaking of keeping me humble. And then
I didn't know we had a person named Gold in the chat, by the way. So when I said I didn't like Gold, I didn't mean you, good sir.
No, but when I say I don't like Gold, I do mean him, though. So.
There you go.
And then let's see, Zach is just saying, Ben, if you could move your mic back, if there's any room to move the mic back.
Yeah.
If not, no worries. But
Sorry, I didn't know this was a stream of how to
Is that a bit better, guys?
over YouTube.
Bit
yeah,
better?
it sounds really good. Sounds, again, we're really lo-fi here, but I got Zach blowing up my messages. He's a sweet angel. He's looking out for us. So we're.
I mean, I was literally sending him pictures from the mall yesterday of my new microphone, and he was kind enough to respond. So I know he's a busy dude. So.
Yeah, he takes the sound really seriously. Mark is saying it's not my favorite. It's Canadian for it's trash. That is
You're not wrong, Mark.
He's not wrong.
Oh man, that is awesome. So all right, let's get into some figure talk. I think.
Awesome.
So I think the first question we have, one more warm-up question. Shauna, how did Ben ask you to come on to this ridiculous show? Like, how did he introduce the idea to you?
So, the day you asked him, maybe the day before, I was in the kitchen cooking him dinner, actually, and I'm, like, turned around cooking, and he's like, yeah, so...
Poutine, right? Was the...
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, that's a little racial. I apologize for that.
No offense
Once again,
taken.
you're not wrong. I had poutine twice this week. So
Yeah.
we're good.
And he goes, you know those podcasts that I watch all the time? And I go, yep, I always hear them. And he goes, yeah, so you know how I also was saying that, like, I'd really like to go on one of those shows? And he's like, I got invited. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. And then he goes, oh, and, but you have to come with me because it's like a couples show. And I'm like, you know that I'm kind of shy. He's like, yeah, but that's how we're going to get on it. And I was like, well, pink sofa, pink sofa, pink sofa.
I think she also said something along the lines of, well, you know, I don't really like hot toys, right? And
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, hot take.
That's, she tolerates them, though, which is a...
100%.
right,
Yeah.
part of this show. So, no, Shauna, you're doing great, by the way. You're already better than I've done in, like, multiple shows. So,
Thank you.
No, you're crushing it. But it sounds pretty typical that he would drag you into his hobbies like this, right? We love to rope y'all into it. So.
Yes, one would say that I approached it delicately, but was successful. So
There you
Good
go.
Ben too. It's not like, hey, Marco is like, hey, we have this stream at this time. I'm like, oh, so you
I got
didn't
no
even ask
finesse,
me.
yep.
Like, it wasn't even like, hey, I'm gonna be on. Do you want to? No.
Right.
So good job, Ben.
when you guys were out drinking last night, I was excited to see what kind of state you may feel like you're in today, right? Trying to host the show and keep it going. So
I took it a little easier than I normally would have, just knowing that we had to be our best at this, and my best is not very good. So just trying to set that bar a little bit. So let's talk about some collecting memories now. And Shauna, these may be applicable to you as well. I know Gigi obviously was like into Pokemon and things like that when she was a kid, and has recently gotten back into it. So Ben, question for you: what is your first collecting memory from when you were a kid or as an adult?
I had one Christmas years and years ago where I got 2 Power Rangers. They weren't quite 6 scale. They were a little bit shorter, and they came in like a triangular box.
Oh, I'm very familiar with these.
Pulled those bad boys out, and oh man, I played with those constantly. But then that same Christmas, I ended up getting a whole whackload of animated Batman series toys, as well as a Stretch Armstrong. I don't know if you guys remember the Stretch Armstrongs.
Oh, heck yeah.
But it was awesome. And so I set up my room. I had like the shelf and everything where I kind of displayed the Rangers when I wasn't playing with them and stuff. And that kind of got me into it. And then slowly over time, I lost them. Like I'm sure my mom probably yard saled them at some point, and I kind of grew out of it for a bit there. So of course now I'm trying to chase them down, right? So
yeah. So have you thought about those 3-0 Power Rangers? Oh, you have one, right?
I've got one. Two. I've got one. I got the Green Ranger now. So and a helmet from Bandai to go along with it to try and pair with it. So posted a few photos that helped honestly make the figure. Just in my collection fit a little bit better. I thought it would look a little cooler with the Hot Toys. I found like the quality difference just wasn't quite on par. But it was my first third-party figure, and so I was still pretty stoked about it. My mom actually got it for me for Christmas. I kind of poked her in Ontario,
awesome. And she
and she bought it. And so and that was part of the fun of it, right? It was like, hey, you remember those Green Ranger or those Rangers from back in the day? Check these ones out, right?
That's really sweet.
But I've separated it from the Hot Toys, so it's kind of got its own shelf. And honestly, for me, that's brought it to life. So it's pretty cool.
The way that you got it displayed really makes it look so much better. I think I mentioned recently that mine, or actually Gigi's, is the Green Ranger. It took a fall from one of the shelves, and so now the legs are snapped. So
it's like doing one of these on the legs. Yeah.
Sorry, I meant to say it came out of the box that way. So.
Oh yes. Yeah, right. Just in case anybody's watching.
So no, thank you for sharing that, Ben. Shauna, same question for you. If it's not applicable, then feel free to pass. But what would be your first collecting memory? And it doesn't have to be like figures. It could be whatever.
My first collecting memory was probably kind of figure related. I collected like Barbie dolls and Bratz dolls as a kid. I actually still have one of them that I've kind of refused to let go of over the years.
Oh, really?
I've managed to donate or sell the rest of my Barbies, but I don't know. This one I always felt a super huge attachment to, and I tried to put it up alongside Batman to be his girlfriend, and he wasn't having it. So in the memory box she goes.
She did look good with Deadpool, though. I will say Deadpool can bring any character to life, no problem.
Right.
Batman, not so much.
Yeah, you're right. Deadpool's a little bit easier to display with. So what's the significance, if you don't mind me asking? Like, does it have a specific like character theme, or like what about that figure is like so special to you?
I think I really liked it because she, in a way, resembled me. She had blonde hair, really, really fair skin. I had so many, like, cool outfits and stuff, and I got to, dress her up in some of my favorite colors, and I don't know what it was other than that about this figure. She just, she just really stood out to me, and never really let her go, I guess.
That's awesome. Okay, all right. So you still have one foot in the childhood, just like the rest of us. So okay.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm going to come out one of these days, and one of these lit cubes is going to have a Bratz doll in it. What can I say? I can't say no. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So Gigi, I'm going to ask you the same question since you weren't on the first episode of Origin Story. Like, what's your first collecting memory from when you were a kid?
First of all, I'm upset that I don't even have my own origin story. So.
Well, maybe you need to host the next one by yourself.
It's too late.
Okay.
I actually didn't. I was a big tomboy growing up, so like the Barbies that my mom tried to make me have, I would like cut their hair, would fall off.
You're Sid from freaking Toy Story.
Fall off.
So I've never had I think the one thing was like Pokemon cards. That was when I was a kid, I would sell candy to my friends, and then from that money I would buy my own Pokemon cards, and so that was the only real thing that I collected and was obsessed with. But I don't know when it stopped. I don't know what happened. But
do you have a random box stashed in your parents' house with Pokemon cards or anything anyway? No. That's too bad. There could be some big money in that box.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
So my parents are, they save everything, and so I'm certain that I've got a binder of Pokemon cards somewhere.
Dude.
That I'm desperate to find, but they have a lot of shit, so it's gonna take a while for me to find that. But yeah, if I do, oh boy. Yeah,
man.
I had a few. Yeah, that might be worth something.
That might actually be a fun live stream, like literally going through the folks' attic and just rooting through boxes. Who knows what's in here?
That
It's
would
like
be
Danny
horrifying.
displaying his 9.8s. You know, that's everybody wants to see it.
Let's not open that Pandora's box.
Let's not. Fair enough.
Right.
You know what, Ben? We gotta go.
End the stream right now. It's done.
Danny's saying that I should get the Pokemon cards graded. Yeah, we should. If I ever find them, then I'll definitely reach out, Danny.
We'll send them to Danny first so he can like stroke each card, because then
That's
100% that shit's 9.8.
Right.
100%.
Once he transfers that, he's got that that good energy. All those
And
nice.
he said
the golden
we're not
touch.
doing any stroking on our cards.
Whoa! Oh my God!
Well,
No, actually, Danny,
Everybody was thinking it.
Strategic
Danny-
language. Don't worry
Danny,
about
I
it.
do want you to stroke on my cards, just so we're clear.
But I think that kind of makes it a little bit easier. Like for me, I don't have anything, like any material object from my childhood. I didn't, and I think that's why I don't have any of that, like, nostalgia or like anything associated with any item. And so I think that's why it's hard for me. I don't get it. But I think, Shauna, for you, it's, you have that one doll that you can kind of revert back to like your childhood memories or whatever it may be. And I think that's very special.
Yeah, she's pretty much all I got. Other than that, I wouldn't say I'm a huge collector of like hoarding things or keeping things. Yeah, she's pretty much the only thing I've got.
Pink in general is kind of just your new collection. It's just having pink things is kind of like just adding it slowly to the house, right?
So
But,
I
like-
do want to ask more about the pink though. Like, where does that come from? Do you know like when you first started getting really into pink?
Oh, I've always loved pink. Like my whole life, that's always been my favorite color. And then I don't know, now it's more trendy or popular to have like pink decor items.
Yeah, pink is
Everything
so
comes
hot
in
right now.
pink.
Pink and gold. Oof.
Ooh,
Unbeatable combo.
I know. That gold mirror, you should see it.
You don't want to see it. You don't want to see it.
But yeah, I just like having pink stuff. It makes me happy.
She also says that I'm an enabler. So when we first started dating and we went to IKEA, because IKEA was a date place for a long time, we would go
Oh,
and
yeah,
get
we're
lunch and walk
familiar.
around IKEA. It was super fun, right? And she would say to me, hey, like, how do you feel about pink plates? And I would say, well, do they house food? Well, yes. Will I get served dinner on them occasionally? She said, yep. I said, 100% then. I'm totally cool with it. As long as I get food out of the deal, you can have any color plate you want.
I love that. That's how you compromise right there.
But it's slowly been enabled. Now we have a pink suede couch and all the good stuff. All the good stuff. So
That's awesome though. No, that I actually would be down for a pink suede couch. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like we've been trying to find ways to incorporate more pink into our decor. So, Shauna, you got to give us some tips here. So I think we could probably skip the next question I had for us, and just jump into. And Ben, this is for you. What got you back into collecting as an adult, or did you like kind of never stop? Do you have any specific memories? Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So the DX11 Joker, back in 2008. I think it was 2008, 2009 when that thing was originally announced. The Dark Knight was one of my favorite movies of all time. It was one of those movies that, I would go to with friends and see over and over and over and over
How
again.
many times do you think you've seen it?
Oh, geez, 50 times more. Like, honestly,
Likewise.
yeah, lots. And so I was working at the bank at the time, and we had computer access. So I loved Heath Ledger, Joker's representation, and I don't know what prompted it. Like, it was one of those, like, Facebook is listening, Instagram is listening type of situations where I think I was just talking about it, and the DX11 Joker popped up on my feed. And I'm not kidding. I looked at that thing every day at work for a year. But then he passed away, of course. And so that figure skyrocketed. And at the time, like, I was much younger. I didn't have the budget. Like, when that thing jumped up to like $1,000 for a figure, I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way. And so, I'm not kidding, for a decade, I looked at that guy until, I think, 2019, when I finally spent the $1,200 Canadian and just pulled the trigger and got him. But at that point, I only had Deadpool and the DX12 Batman. The DX12 had been gifted to me in 2012, so that was technically my first figure, which got me back into Hot Toys. But I think what really scratched that itch was knowing that one day I would have that Heath Ledger in my collection. And I mean, there he sits. Sorry.
It's a beautiful figure.
There he sits, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, from there it kind of was very slow. I mean, you've talked about how I haven't, like, considering I've been collecting, Hot Toys for 10 years. I don't have that many figures, but there was a big period of time where I slowed it down just because of the cost.
Mm-hmm.
But it was definitely those that DX12 and DX11 that really got me into it. So
Okay. Awesome.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
So, so I
You always
kinda-
got something to say.
I kind of feel like that's a little bit. It makes it to me like obviously I don't collect, so I don't know how this goes. But to me, that's like a little bit more special because it just. I think that's the issue that I have when it becomes like so many of them. I feel like at some point you kind of just become like desensitized, and it just like it's just another toy on a shelf, But I think when it's like so special, like and small, like, I don't know. That's how I feel. I just makes it to me. It makes it like a little bit more special.
When the
Yeah,
collection is smaller and more curated.
Yeah, like these are figures because you really have to think about do I want like oof that amount for that it's just like oof, I wouldn't
It's tough though because, and Shauna, this will lead to a question for you. I feel like I am under control and like I am very selective because there's a lot of figures that come out and I want a lot of things, and so I feel like I only get what I really, really want. But in Gigi's mind, it's like, oh, you're getting everything. I'm like, oh, you don't even know how many are coming. And that's kind of one of the reasons we started this, to inform her a little bit more, and then also for her to have some therapy. So Shauna, when did you first learn of Ben's toy collecting, and how did you feel about it then, and how do you feel about it now?
I think when I first found out about it was when we were neighbors at one point in the apartment building we lived in, and when we were at IKEA, he was like looking for this display cabinet, and he like really wanted this display cabinet, and then when he got it home, he pulled this box out of the closet, and he's like, this box has been in the closet for way too long, like I'm so excited to display this. And he pulled it out, and I was like, oh, so it's an action figure. And he's like, no, this is like
collectible.
Premium, way more than that. And I was like, okay, it's a glorified action figure. But and then he started showing me how like you can get like any character. Tried to talk me into it. He's like, oh, look, they make these characters, maybe you would like them. I'm like, no. But I saw how much he really liked this figure. He doesn't collect a ton of things, and that just seemed to be his one his one thing. So then he started showing me like more of these other ones that he wanted, and then I think I bought the second one. He showed me the
Deadpool,
website,
right?
and it was the Deadpool. Yeah, he sent me the link for it, and that's all he talked about. That's all he wanted for gifts was Hot Toys, and
we're such dorks. We're just like so like honed in on one thing, right? Until we shut up about it.
Like, oh, you don't want like a nice watch or something? Nope. He wants this Hot Toys, so I ended up buying him Deadpool. And funny story behind that, I actually still didn't realize, because he opened the Batman, so I'm like, oh, these are meant to be opened, these are meant to be handled, so I had this Deadpool shipped to my work because he had no idea I was getting it for him, and it arrived, and I was like, ooh, yeah, let's open this baby. So I cracked it open in my warehouse.
Shauna, you did not.
In the warehouse.
Cracked this thing open, and I'm like touching all the attachments, and then I like walked into the office, and I'm like showing my coworkers, and I'm like, yeah, look at this thing, and like people are touching it, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, put it back in the box, and then when he opened it, he was like, oh, it looks like it's already been opened. And I was like, oh, were you not going to open it anyways? He's like, yeah, but, like, I wanted to open it. And little does he know, like, 10 people have already touched it. I've been already playing with it, posing it.
I was mortified. I was like, oh, like, you got ripped off. Like, where'd you get this from? Like, this shouldn't be
Brand
open.
new.
Like, that's not right. Like, normally I take pictures and like just to make sure, like all of us other collectors out there, like if there's any damage, like we're screwed, right? We can't send it back, right? Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, but that's okay. It was fine, and thankfully, like Gigi would talked about memories and how you kind of associate things. Like the Deadpool movie was one of the first superhero movies that I was able to kind of drag, but bring Shauna to. Okay. But then when we left, she actually liked it. She actually thought it was good. She liked the movie. And so for me, that was awesome. That was like a breakthrough moment because I'm like, she's not a huge pop culture fan. I knew I'd love it, but I didn't know if she would. And so that kind of gave us that little connection. And so when she got me the figure, now every time I look at that figure, it reminds me of that date and that experience. And of course, as I said, a previously opened figure that I got to reopen again at my birthday. So
hey, I paid for it. Yeah. I paid for it. I'm opening it.
Can you imagine if it was damaged? Can you imagine if it was damaged and we couldn't send it back? Like, screwed.
You would have cried, but...
Shauna, did you throw away the brown shipper box? Because I don't know if we'd be standing here if that were the case.
Right? No, I don't think I did. I think I kept the box because it was actually in really good condition, and I was like, oh, this will wrap really nicely. But then when he saw the box and he commented how nice it was, he's like, yeah, I'm totally going to keep this. I'm like,
it's been stripped.
You're going to really keep... I'm like, can we at least collapse it? He's like, no, leave it.
No, that's part of that's like $30 in value right there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And at the time, we lived in a 500 square foot apartment with one closet, and we had to share that closet for like everything, clothes, towels, like you name it, everything had to go in this tiny closet. So I'm like, you're going to keep this little dinky box and make me take up space in this closet? He's like, absolutely.
And I'm not kidding. I knew I would never sell it, so she almost had me convinced to get rid of even the art box.
So
which,
close.
now that I've even a little more seasoned in terms of collecting, I realize that, like, I probably shouldn't even say that out loud on the stream. I'm going to get canceled, It's not good. Not good.
No.
But no, we kept it all, so it's all good.
That's awesome. It's so important to us, these brown shipper boxes. And then when you hear Shauna say that out loud, like, you have room for all these important things and then these dumb brown boxes. It's like really puts things into perspective, right?
You just keep the art box in the shipper. It's only one space. You're good.
There you go.
You're good. Yeah.
Consolidate a little bit.
You're good.
Let's see, Quinn, most.
Believe it or not, I buy most of my 1/6 used on purpose.
You know what?
I think that's a great idea.
It's a good strategy. It is.
That's how I got my Bane. I got my Bane for $100 on Facebook Marketplace. It didn't come with any hands, but the hands that were on him. But it had all the other accessories with him. No art box, none of that stuff. But $100 for a Bane that was going for like $600 with everything, like, and he sets up it nice. Like, nobody sees the art box in the closet, right? Yeah. And so. For me, it was perfect, and like obviously checked the condition of the jacket. That was the big selling feature, and I said to Shauna, I've got a mission when I go and pick this used guy up. I know that he's got the scar on the back of his neck. I know he's got Hot Toys written on his feet. Like, right. I will make sure that this is legit. But yeah, came home, $100 guy, not too bad. So.
Oh yeah, you can't pass that up, and I think there are definitely figures out there that I would 100% buy loose, just to have it, and who cares about all the other stuff. So yeah, I'm a little more OCD in that, like, I do love my figures brand new. So Shauna, that story of, other people holding my figure before I was able to get it would, but in a way, like, it was just so sweet that you bought it for him anyways, that I'm sure that's how he eventually approached it. So at
least she wasn't eating Cheetos or something that day, cheesy fingers or something kind of weird, right? So,
it was nacho day in the office. And
oh my
God. So Gigi, a question for you though. You've gotten me a figure before, right? What was the first figure you bought me?
I don't know, because I give you, like, I pay for it, but I don't want to do the legwork. Like, Shauna was nice enough to, like, go buy the figure, from the website. I'm like, get whatever you want. Here's the money. Mostly, like, on his birthday and stuff like that.
So she did also buy me my PS5, but it was the same thing where she was like, you do all the work to get it, and then I'll just buy it. I'm like, you're so romantic. You're so sweet when you're going that extra mile there.
Because I don't want to get you something that you don't want. And
She knows how freaking particular I am, right?
Ooh, now I'm heated.
Oh no.
So
We're going down a dark
the
path.
reason that I do that is because Marco gets everything. Like, he has to have it. Shauna, I don't know if Ben is like this. And I guess it's a little bit easier with, like, the figures because you can pre-order. A lot of them I don't think sell out, right? Mm-hmm. When he was, you know, like the PlayStation, all these shoes that he also collected, he would have to get it, like, when it came out. And
The drop.
yeah, and like 4 a.m, I was like, ooh, boy, I love you, but not that much, you know? And so it's hard to buy anything for him, really. So I think that's why we have a story about I was trying to be cute and get him something. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But he was like, no, actually, I think this is better. You know, I'm dealing with a diva here. So, like...
She's not wrong.
So I'm like, here's some money. Go buy what you want, you know? Like a teenager. If you
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
And
guess...
sorry, Marco.
Go
Marco,
ahead.
just to interrupt because I saw a couple of the comments coming up. I honestly think like the art boxes. Obviously, we don't collect these necessarily for investment purposes. But you know, I've listened to a lot of people talk about how if life happens, which it can, and you had to liquidate a little bit, having those art boxes and stuff still help with that return value. So you may not make money necessarily on them, but I think being able to liquidate it, if you ever had to, I think can be important and can be at least a reason for that justification of kind of hanging on to that stuff. Because I do the same. I use my art boxes for accessory holding on some of those extras and stuff. But at the end of the day, as I said, if worst case scenario, anything ever came down the line, I'm not going to lose my house or my kitty or whatever because I wanted to hang on to the figures. You know what I mean? Like liquidate if you have to, rebuy them again down the line if you had to. So
Absolutely. No, that's a great point for, new collectors or just advice in general. And, we had Zach on last week with his wife, Victoria, and, he told the story of him, a few times when his family was in need of something, kind of liquidating his collection. And it's like just so beautiful to have someone step up in that way. And that's a cool thing about Hot Toys, right? It's like you might not get rich off of them, but normally they do retain their value. So you try to keep as much of that value as possible. Go ahead, Gigi.
Oh, Cuervo just popping in.
Hey,
Man,
Cuervo.
music class, ballet class, so
I
cute.
know, they're so busy. So I guess the handling of Deadpool kind of leads into another question. And that is, have you had any accidents with handling any of Ben's figures at all, Shauna?
Yes, actually. So he won the Iron Man figure from another channel, I think. And he was like over the moon excited. He had been talking about this figure for so long, saying how much he wanted it, and it finally arrived. And he opened it up, and I was kind of looking at it over his shoulder, and he's like, "Oh, like you should hold it, you should touch it." I'm like, "No, I'm good. Like we've already been through that. I'm not gonna touch it." And he's like, no, like I insist, like feel how good quality it is.
feel
like,
the weight of it.
Yeah.
The weight, right?
Yeah, like this is amazing. So I'm like, okay, sure. And there's that little like light.
The arc reactor.
The
arc
thing.
reactor on Iron Man's
Okay.
I don't
chest.
even know what it's called.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, is this a button? And I like pushed it to light it up, and I cracked it like right out of his chest plate. And I was like, I put it back on the table. I'm like, see, I told you I shouldn't have touched it. Like,
She was like, I thought for such an expensive figure it would light up. And I said, yeah, with tweezers and batteries for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Not a button on the chest. I'm like, oh my God. Thankfully, she didn't crack it in the sense of cracking it. She just pushed it out.
Push it
so,
through. Okay, you're able
right.
to-
So, Hot Toys glue sometimes is notorious for not being all that sticky.
Yeah.
I was able to just glue it back in. So, crisis averted, but.
but yeah.
Goodness.
Oh.
Press it, see it go in and not pop back up, and I think I like heard a part of his soul die.
I didn't even have the foam out from under the armpits yet or anything. Like, he was literally, like, just pulled out of the clamshell. Like,
Oh my gosh, that is
Yeah.
awesome.
A horror story, another one. Sam says, I had a hot toy come in the mail once and my wife hid it in the oven to surprise me and forgot about it and preheated the
Oh
oven.
no.
oh no.
Sam, what
way.
figure? What the heck?
Yeah, like, what was it at least like Two-Face? Like, could you pass it off?
Right,
Or-
exactly.
It was like that when I got
Swear
here.
to God, weird, yeah.
Oh my God. Gigi hasn't seen this box next to me yet. Marco just looks, I wish that I had that Justice League Batmobile. But, the Tumbler, on the other hand, could be nice to add to the collection. Ben, let me ask you about the tumbler. I know you and I don't have the space, but is it something that you've considered?
Considered 100%. Will buy, probably not.
Okay.
And for honestly, for two reasons. I like the figures a little bit more than the vehicles. I think the vehicles are amazing. Like they're well made, and they look amazing in a collection. Like you said, for the folks who have a custom display cabinet that you can illuminate it and look amazing. A few years ago, I bought the Lego tumbler. Did we lose you?
I think they're going.
He's picking his boogers.
Oh, no worries.
Gosh, she's calling me out here. Sorry, it's
No
allergy
worries.
season over
Hot.
here. I didn't want to be on camera wiping my nose.
Yeah, a few years ago, I bought the Lego tumbler, the one that like the big version. And honestly, I just recently built it, and then I had nowhere to put it, and so I've deconstructed it again and once again put it in my storage room down here. So
Oh, got it. Okay, you've been through this.
like
already.
if I can't find space for the Lego one, I can't justify buying the new one, at least at this point. So maybe down the line when we have a house upgrade and a bigger, less pink house, overall.
Or more pink house, so you
Or
have
more.
more, vehicles,
more.
right?
Yeah.
Just up the pink game, and that's the compromise.
Having said that, that DeLorean that just came out, that is hitting me in the feels. Like that movie has a lot of nostalgic value for me. I'm like, I loved the second one just as much as the first, and I know, I've seen a lot of folks out there saying, if you have the first Marty, like maybe like what if they don't reissue the new figures like to go along with the new vehicle. But that vehicle still showed up in the end credits. Well, not the
yeah,
end
we can go
credits,
with
but
those.
before the end of that movie, when Doc flies in,
That's
like
the original
you can
post-credit
pass
scene
it
right
off.
there.
100%. You can totally pass it off. So I don't have Marty or Doc yet, but I pre-ordered the Marty for 6 months from now. So I'm gonna slowly pay that guy off over time
There
and
you
go from
go.
there.
Shauna, no, I was going to say, Shauna looks thrilled by the idea of the DeLorean. I won't lie to you.
I don't know. Have I showed it to you?
I mean, you show me a lot of things.
I love how that you think that's gonna make a difference.
What do you
Just
mean?
that I showed it to her?
Showing it
Yeah.
to her.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
Yeah,
wow,
like,
yes.
look how cool this looks.
She was looking at you like, what the fuck are you talking about, Ben?
I'm gonna be real
What the hell is a
honest.
DeLorean?
I don't get the appeal of the cars. Like I went to the thrift store and I saw a Batman mobile and I was like, Batman mobile?
Batman-mobile? The Batmobile?
That sums it up right there.
And I was like, this looks just like it. Like just repaint it, add like something heavy
It's
in it,
not.
and you got it.
Yeah.
I don't get the car thing. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
We're on track.
You know
We're on
what?
track to get Marco's channel canceled here.
So Shauna, I'm going to ask you a question about Back to the Future. How do you feel about it? Well, while we handle with some barking dogs over here. Have you seen the movie before? Or?
I have seen Back to the Future. I will say that's one of the kind of like pop culture movies that I have seen all the way through without falling asleep. So
Very impressive.
yeah. I actually did think it was a pretty good movie. I do like stuff about time traveling, so that movie did spark my interest for sure.
Okay.
But not enough that I could justify buying any hot toys
You
or
don't even know the
like.
price yet.
Girl.
Shauna, you don't even know the price yet and how great of a value it is,
Yeah, it only costs the same as our couch upstairs.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Don't
Don't
worry
worry
about
about
it.
it at all. Not one bit.
fine.
No, that's- you guys have, or we all have until 2023 to worry about that one. So, Ben, I think we'll sort through that.
She's the budgeter for the house, so I just have to figure out a way to get her to plant $20 away and we'll save up. We'll get there.
There you go. Exactly. So Gigi had just seen Back to the Future recently too, and what did you think of the movie?
Is there more than one?
There's 3 total.
Oh, wow.
We
What
watched
did
part
I
1
watch?
and part 2.
Oh, I just remember where he's like trying to hit on his mom or something, right? Is
That's
that
part
the
1.
same movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a great.
It's a
way
weird
to
standout
summarize it.
moment. But it's a
Calvin
weird
Klein.
standout moment, but
Yeah.
That's
No,
awesome.
his mom was sitting on him, just so we're clear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was cute. It was a cute movie. I don't remember 2 and 3.
Okay.
I don't remember there being more than one. I
You don't
do
remember the hoverboard?
Yeah.
The
no.
the hoverboard?
Oh yeah.
That's
there was
in
a
the-
fight, right?
The second one.
There's always a fight.
Okay. When you asked me if I'd seen it, so I guess I should clarify. I've seen like the first original one. I haven't seen the other 2, but there is a Back to the Future hoverboard in a store here that Ben points out every
Oh,
time we go in
full-on
there.
Hoverboard. What store is
So-
this, Ben?
It's a video game trader here in Calgary,
Nice.
and
Okay.
they've got it like beautifully lit and displayed on the, tilted and everything, and it's like $200. It's nothing crazy, but I'm like, ooh,
Is that all? Ooh.
yeah, they actually have an amazing price on it. I'm like,
That'd look kind of nice on like a shelf above your TV. Might be.
that's what I thought, right? But when I showed it to her, thinking it's pink, like she'll probably like it. No,
Yeah.
she didn't.
No
She didn't
good.
like it.
Where are we gonna put this? What are you gonna do with it? Like, it's just gonna sit there.
No.
It doesn't even hover. Why is this worth $200?
At least if it hovered, it would be worth the investment.
Oh my gosh. All right.
I do remember asking a question in the middle of the movie, and then Marco, I think it was a dumb question, and he was like, okay, let's just move on and watch the movie.
She asks a lot of really interesting questions when we're watching movies.
I think because I'm face blind, so a lot of the time I'm like, wait, is that the same guy?
If a character has new facial hair, she'll be like, who is this? I'm like, that's the guy from earlier. Specifically, The Dark Knight Rises, when he's in, what's the pit called? And he grows a beard. She's like, wait, who's this guy that they're introducing? I was like, that is literally
that's
Bruce
not
Wayne.
How I said it.
That is
I
Batman.
Said, we had just started dating too. And I was like, and I didn't want to, I had a lot of questions in the beginning of the movie, but we just started dating. I don't want to ask too many questions. He already watched it on his own. And I was like, he comes out of the pit and I was like, wait, is that Batman? And he's like, yes. I was like, oh, wow.
Oh, man. Oh, so Zach is watching us while taking a home buyer's course. Kill me now.
Damn.
Zach, it's, temporary pain for, a lot of glory that you'll have here soon. So excited as heck for you guys.
Hey.
And Mark,
do
she
you
probably would like the DeLorean better than the Challenger. You're not wrong, buddy. You're not wrong.
No more cars.
Yeah.
No more
At
cars.
least that still fits in
no.
the mechanical room if I have to hide it, right? The Challenger, not so much.
Oh, boy. So, let's see if there's any. Let me catch up on the chat here. So Quinn is saying he prefers the Bat Pod over the Tumbler. Yeah, the Bat Pod looks pretty sweet, too. That's definitely one I've considered. But, again, space considerations.
Yeah, I heard that the new DeLorean has the same like figure stand essentially as the Bat Pod. Interesting reuse there. So too bad they didn't give us a discount for it though. Like, what if you already have the stand? Maybe I don't need it.
So Sam is saying Kyle Reese from Terminator was the figure that ended up in the oven.
See what I
And
mean? I
she
was like,
figured-
who's that?
She figured it out by
Damn.
the smell, but it was surprisingly okay. Okay, well that's good to hear that it didn't burn up. Yikes.
I mean, Hot Toys has a really good potent smell to it, but I can't imagine burning in the oven
A little
would be a
crispy,
good call.
a little extra
yeah.
crispy.
a little crispy.
Tukathri is saying, forget the Tumbler. What
Ooh,
about the
that
Ecto 1? I
Ecto
think
1.
the Ecto 1 starts at like $1,400, right, before shipping. So I
Yeah.
think that one is... There is like out of my price range and then way out of my price range. I think that one's a non-starter.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's one of the tricky parts about being in Canada, honestly, is the shipping and the customs charges. So, like Sideshow, like obviously in the States, you guys have a little more access, bigger wait times if you have to. But for Canada, like getting the Ecto 1 here, I think it was priced out. I priced it out through Toys Wonderland and Sideshow, and it was a lot of money, like doubling it up almost to bring it to Canada. So for me, but I've also
1,700. Yikes.
yeah, I've heard it's like the size. It comes in the size of like a fridge box, though.
Wow.
So,
really? Is it really that big?
Like, I heard it's pretty huge. I again, unverified. I haven't seen
Shut
it
up.
in person, but
Yeah.
We are not
Exactly
keeping that
what I
box.
we're not keeping it. We don't have closets that big.
Ben, she
Not
didn't
a
say
big
no,
mistake.
though. She didn't
You
say
only
no.
said no to the box.
Right? That's fine. I'll crush the box down if I get an
That's
Ecto
right,
1
man.
sitting in the middle of the living room.
Yeah.
So,
Get
And I mean,
a fridge right alongside of it, and you can toss both of the boxes at the same time.
Right? Yeah. No, whatever he can fit in this basement, he can have. The deal was...
I can fit a lot of shit still in this basement.
Oh, yeah. You're very disciplined.
The deal was, you're not displaying your nerdy shit up in my elegant living room. Like, you're not putting him on the fireplace mantle. You're not
Yes.
poking him in the corner. Like, no, if you can get him in the basement, I'm good with that.
Gold.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's I've got the same constraints. I'm concentrated into one pretty small space, and so trying to figure out. Ben, I'm like you, where I want them displayed nicely, so I don't want everything kind of crammed together. And so, trying to figure out how to balance that is definitely tricky at times.
It is tricky. And like I've still seen lots of people's displays, in the chats and stuff that have, multi-figures per shelf. And some folks like really pull it off.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes I worry that they lose their value a little bit almost. They look really pristine and valuable when they are kind of like behind you guys, like standing on their own and really showcased. They lose a little something, I think, when they're jammed in, but not jammed in, but like placed in together even, I think the only shelf I've put two together so far have been stormtroopers, which stormtroopers look good in pairs or in groupings. So,
absolutely, yeah.
But I've never been the type to what do they call it, like build out an army or army build.
Army build.
Can't afford that. Can't afford army building.
Mark said, interesting. Ben is a no worries, and Shauna is a for sure. Would love hearing how you guys find organization.
You're not.
Throw a few A's in there.
Coming from a guy from Pennsylvania, it seems like a very, very different worlds there.
Yeah. Well, and Shauna and I worked together for a little while, so I mean, we learned how to professionally disagree, because you can't tell the other person to fuck off at work.
Yeah.
You can at home, but if you've learned how to professionally say "go fuck yourself," you're probably okay. You'll do fine. You'll be able to get through those battles.
So you guys worked together and you lived in the same complex at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually met through work. Ben was the manager and I was the assistant manager.
Oh, wow.
Got spicy. Got spicy.
For a very short period of time until we got moved into different stores. I think our boss started to catch on as to what was happening.
Those
but
long glances were...
Yeah, but yeah, Ben, I worked in his store for a bit as his assistant manager of the store, and then he ended up needing to move out of his current place, and I was like, oh, a place just opened up right next door in my building, and he was like,
wow.
Are you sure? Like, I don't know about that. And I was like, oh, it'll be fine. We don't have to hang out all the time. Like, it's still your own house, and I'm in my house, and no. Once he moved in, we hung out, like, every day, almost every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So.
And like when she says it was next door, I mean like our bathroom walls like joined.
That literally next door.
So like we could
door.
we could talk at the bathroom wall to each other through apartments. So I was like, "Are you sure you want me to live like this close? I mean, like we're pretty new. Like, what if you get sick of me? Like, yeah, not good." Not good, but it worked out, so we're lucky that way. But we constantly had to keep carrying frying pans down the hallway and all the stuff for months until we were finally like, screw this, let's just buy a Challenger and move in together.
Consolidate.
I save $500 a month. I can buy a Challenger.
That's right. Or an Ecto 1.
Yeah.
Or an Ecto 1.
Or an Ecto 1 now. Yeah. And by the way, just back to the Ecto 1. Have you guys seen the Afterlife, Ghostbusters Afterlife?
No, I have not seen it. I'm not like the hugest Ghostbusters fan, so we haven't gone out of our way. I think we saw the one with I'm drawing a blank on all the ladies' names. What's the last Ghostbusters movie?
Yeah, with all the the SNL cast basically.
There you
that
go,
felt like
yes.
That felt like a Ghostbusters parody. That
was what it was.
I know
right?
that it has their fair share of fans, which is cool, but I hated that iteration, and so I honestly wasn't all that excited about the new Ghostbusters. But I would say that if you're gonna revisit it, watch the very first one, so like the OG, the original movie, and then watch this new one, because this one feels almost like a sequel to the original.
Okay.
And
so
dude,
it
honestly,
ignores.
I've got a sensitive side, dude. It had me a little tearing up at
really?
times. No spoilers, but it was a beautiful movie. I really liked it. 100% would recommend it. So and now of course they've released this Ecto 1. So I'm like, ooh. I mean, that movie made me cry. Maybe I need to buy that shit. Yeah.
Oh man, Shauna, if looks could kill, I just really. Oh man,
Yeah.
We'll have to add this to a part 2. We'll go through over all the photos and we'll really try to sell these ladies on number 1 the DeLorean and number 2 the Ecto 1. I think they'd just
100%.
be fine additions to our collections. So.
Yeah, because if she walks through
thrilled.
Because if she walks through the kitchen upstairs and hears me weeping downstairs, she needs to know that it's Ghostbusters, that it's not anything weirdly sideways, So
Yeah, nothing weird, just crying over Ghostbusters.
Just Ghostbusters. Totally cool.
If I heard you weeping in the basement, I think Alfie knocked the figures off the shelf or something.
That might also do it. You're not wrong.
So I think Tukathri's comment is probably good for our next question here. So he's talking about, I love these containment rules. How long before they escape? I need to make sure I get a 2,000 square foot room for my collection. Yeah, to got through, now that you're on the house hunt, go as big as possible for that collection room, because, the containment can be challenging in these smaller spaces. And
Good luck on the house hunt, though. That's awesome. Yeah, good luck on the house hunt.
I think they're in one of the tougher markets, though. So, yeah, hopefully it doesn't take a long time to got through, and you get exactly what you're after in terms of the house and the collection room. So I guess here's the question, Ben, is how do you budget, or how do you balance from like a budget standpoint in terms of collecting these figures? Like Gigi and I have talked about our toy tax, Shauna, not to give you ideas, but okay, how about you describe it? Because I say it often.
Yeah, it's just, I think we tried like very different ways of that where I was trying to contain his collection, and none of it was working. It was like, okay, no more than 20. Oh, okay, you have 23 now? Okay, great. That one's out the window. And so...
None of the same characters, she was like, and then all of a sudden there's 2 Mandalorians, 2 Spider-Man, 2 cats. And
so I was like, okay. And, it's like one of those things where it's a good hobby to have, I think, because of COVID. I think it does have that type of like therapy, mental health obviously is a huge thing right now with COVID. And so I think it provides that. I think the community provides that with like talking to other people and just like, getting your mind off of other things. And so I really like that aspect of it. So I don't want to, it's not like I want to take it away, but sir, please contain it. And so I was like,
and especially because we have other goals, right? We always talk about like she wants to get another investment property, and we want to travel, and there's, we want to make repairs on the home. So I understand it's not all about my collection.
And we love traveling. Like we do a few trips a year. We do one big trip, either to like Europe or, like a big trip and we love doing that. So obviously with COVID, that's been, put on the back burner. But I was like, okay, so how about, because nothing was working, and it was actually becoming like a real problem for me. And so I was like, okay, if you want to get, like, you work hard for your money, it's not like our bills are not paid or, we have any of those issues. And I was like, okay, how about you're going to pay a toy tax, you're going to pay a 1-for-1. And Marco thought it was like, $250 per toy. I'm like, no. It's a 1-for-1.
I thought it was a flat rate, like I get a toy and I get taxed for...
No. So if these vehicles cost $600, then you're going to put $600 additional. And it's not, to be clear, it's not like money for me to spend. It's like money in our joint account so that we can, pay for other things,
for
like
important
our trips
stuff
and things like that. Yeah.
And so Sam's asking, how many pre-orders do we have on average? Sam, I have not said, and I never will say. That's on a need to know basis, and I need to know, and Gigi doesn't. So I'll handle the tax as they come one by one. Ben, is that something? You're really good about balancing your collecting. So I guess that question to you guys: how do you balance? Do you have any tips for anyone?
And I'll answer his question as well. I only have one pre-order, usually at a time. So I pay it off, and then I receive the figure, and then I do.
Just so responsible.
I do the next one. But part of that comes from the way we budget. So when we first started dating, we had separate bank accounts, and I don't know if you've ever had that experience where you go to the grocery store and it's like, well, I guess it's my turn to buy groceries, and because I bought, because you bought them last time, or it's, let's go on a date. Well, you bought last time, so I'll buy this time. And what ended up happening is we kind of artificially ended up spending more money treating each other constantly, because it was always like this back and forth level of treating. And so I can't remember how long we were together for before I finally convinced her, like, we should share a bank account, because I think she said to me, she's like, I won't share a bank account unless I'm married. So like, if there's no ring on it, we ain't sharing a bank account. But I was able to convince her before we actually got engaged, and it ended up working out pretty well, because what ended up happening was that master budget pays for things like groceries and life expenses and house expenses and all that kind of stuff. And then our goal every paycheck is to kind of cut ourselves just a little chunk out of that. So whether it's $50 or $100,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, discretionary.
Discretionary.
Call it, our friends call it, they're discretionary. Like they just pay for,
But the whole idea behind that was you could buy anything you want with it. If you go and toss it off the balcony, it's your money.
There you go.
And so, you know, at $50 here and there, or $100 here and there, obviously a Hot Toys can take a while to be able to buy. But what it ends up doing is it makes me feel like I've appreciated that purchase just that little bit more. Instead of it just being a credit card trigger pull, which you get that kind of initial rush, right? Like, I know that feeling. You get that a little, ooh, like that felt good, right? I know it's coming. You know, it kind of slowed me down and made me recognize. I think at one point there last year, I had the Venom pre-ordered as well as Spider-Man and a couple others. And I looked at my kind of budget sheet for it, and I was thinking, like, holy God, like, it's going to take me 13 months of this $50 to $100 a time to be able to pay this off. Am I willing to commit to that over, you know, all of the savings that I'm issued every paycheck? Am I willing to commit that? Because other life things are going to come up that I would want to do, you know, and so I slowed it down, and I've started, as I said, kind of like I mentioned earlier, doing that one at a time. And I really appreciate it every time, and I put it on the shelf, and you know how you get that feeling where you pose it every time you walk past it, and you know, Shauna will be sitting on the couch that she hates watching a show, and watching me stand there in front of the figures, like, you know, how does this look? Well, it looks exactly the same as the last pose you had. Well, okay, well, but come and stand on this side of the room and take a look, you know, right? But that helped, and then I think the payment plans have also helped in that not feeling like it's such a huge chunk. That it's like, if I know that I get a little bit of money every month to put towards it, then I can still have a pre-order on the go while I still have liquid money to, you know, buy whatever else comes up, or if I want to take her on a date or those types of things. What has failed us in the last 2 years is from the pandemic, but also buying a house during the pandemic was a huge expense for us. And so at one point when we brought our check-in to the bank, like, that was the most money we had ever handed over a counter for anything, right? And so it was like, holy cow, like, we don't have any money, it feels like now. Like, that was it. Like, and so for the last 2 years, we've been kind of slowly rebuilding that, or replenishing that fund, right? And
Ben, it's interesting you say that, because, you know, we bought our house at the end of 2019, and my collecting started kind of early 2020, when we were pretty, you know, we had like depleted our savings to get in here. And so it was probably not a good time to start getting into an expensive hobby, but during the pandemic, a lot of people did. So.
I think that's why I had that issue, because like you said, we like just essentially gave like all of our savings, you know, we had a little bit, but not enough to where I was comfortable if something were to happen. And
there were so many unknowns during the pandemic too.
And that was my issue, that it's just like, you're buying these things, but I really like, I mean, good job. I really like the way that you do it. I think ideally that's what we would have, but
you want to start being a little more methodical about our expenses, though, like pooling it, and then
I just think
kind
that
of
you
dividing.
appreciate it, like Ben was saying. I think you appreciate it a little bit more. And let me ask a question if I can.
Yeah, please.
And this is to the chat as well. With the pre-orders and is it like a payment plan that you can, what is that called? Is it a payment?
It's a payment plan, yeah.
Okay.
Only certain retailers offer that, but yeah.
Does that get more tricky though? Because it's like, oh, I don't have to like pay it right away. I can just. I feel like that would be like a very slippery slope.
People do get into trouble on that, and maybe we'll ask Ben Sam, because he says he has around 80 pre-orders right now. So I'd be curious to know: do you do payment plans, or do you kind of take those one by one? Because it definitely could get dangerous, because you know your deposits of $15, $25. Depending on the figure, and then you could do payment plans. But yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have no scoffing here. I'm jealous. If I could do 80 pre-orders right now, I would 100% rock that shit. So that's awesome, Sam. But I think, kind of like I was saying earlier there, Gigi, like I felt that last year. I had only a couple on the go, but it was like $1,300 or $1,400 Canadian. That's before customs charges and shipping and all of the stuff. And I'm thinking, holy cow, like I've bitten off more than I could chew. And it ended up having to cancel some of them. And you lose your NRDs, so then you're losing money and you're still not getting the figure, which feels really disappointing. And so I think the goal for me was always just to not bite off, as I said, more than I could chew.
You kind of learn the hard way sometimes.
Yeah, but like, being part of the community of people, like I get to appreciate other people's figures just as much. Like I love Doctor Strange. I love the movie. I love the character. But I don't have that same level of personal connection to the figure as I did maybe the Batman or the Iron Man or the Deadpool with Shauna or any of those things. So like for me, I look at it in Marco's collection. I'm like, that looks awesome. I don't need it in mine. Yeah, I'm able to appreciate those things at a distance, and really only add the ones in my collection, anyways, that really have that personal connection. Not necessarily that they've made me cry. I'm just putting it out there to the chat. But as I said, the ones that have hit me in the feels in any way, shape, or form, or they remind me of a time with friends or family or loved ones, like those are the figures that I want to collect in my collection. And for everybody else, I celebrate it. I can't wait to see Sam's collection when he gets those 80 figures in. Like, send us the pictures, man. Like, that's
Right.
awesome. That is awesome. But that helps me budget them as well, because it's like, do I want it? Do I need it? We always had that as a kid. And I didn't grow up in a rich household. If it's a want or a need, it comes kind of, it's different. It plays into that, right? So, but that's not to say anybody else collects badly either, or in the wrong way. Everybody kind of, it's easy to feel like you have a connection to something and really want that figure, right? Like I didn't love the Justice League until the Zack Snyder cut, and then I immediately started to kind of look at the figures and try and justify it to myself, and had to decide it was one or the other. So, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, Ben. Shauna, I do have a question for you. I'm going to catch up with the chat really quickly. I got to save money for statues, thanks to Guthrie. We're still sorting through that. The collector, big trips are hard for me because I talk my wife out of it. I'm curious, is that because you want, let's see. I tell my wife I pack my lunch every day for extra spending money.
Hey,
so that's
that works.
because you'd prefer to spend the money on, collectibles. And I think that's the thing, right? Like I was talking about on Iron Logan's stream yesterday. One of my favorite podcasts is called the Afford Anything podcast. And she talks about you can afford anything, you just can't afford everything. And that's like with your time and your money, and there's always trade-offs. And so you just got to determine what's most important to you. Let's see. So I have my own account so we don't fight. See, that's a smart way to do it. And there is no wrong way to do it. And that's why we love, getting different perspectives. There is a wrong way to do it, and that's how I was doing it in the beginning. So, but beyond that, Sam needs an end game. Okay, so we're curious to know what strategies.
This is an intervention,
Yeah.
Sam.
Let's see. You want to read this one? It's too many words for me.
Great idea, Gigi. Might put the tax on myself and push to one of my other accounts. Makes sense.
Quinn, that's a great strategy. Just set a little something aside for other expenses.
It has to hurt, it has to hurt you a little bit.
Okay, so Dukathri and his wife do the same with their accounts in terms of, let's see, read that one.
But sharing Amazon accounts makes it impossible to surprise my wife with purchases.
You're not wrong. That's
Especially
true.
when Alexa's over there spoiling it for you. And
Every time she wants to do an Amazon purchase, she takes my phone to do the purchase. I'm like, well, I guess you do the budget, so fair.
Passion equals life. Passion for anything, yeah. If that's what makes you happy, then, and you can afford it, then yeah, go for it. Like we're thrilled for that. I never pre-order it. Yeah, to Guthrie, never pre-ordering is probably a strategy I'm maybe starting to implement more. Sean, who's in the Collecting Weekly group, he and I kind of have the same mentality though, in that there's certain retailers, if you want the best deal, you kind of have to pre-order early. So if you're like really certain you're going to get a figure, sometimes I'll do it. Just because I'm trying to, just get the best, save as much money as possible, since it's such a freaking expensive hobby.
and Marco, if you don't mind me interjecting, and to clarify for Gigi there just a little bit, there is still obviously a bit of a difference between payment plan and pre-ordering. Pre-ordering still has a lot more to do with, figures that aren't released yet, that, they've announced when they're likely to come out. So if you want, you can pay it off before the figure is released. So by the time it does release, boom, it's already paid off. It's just going to be coming in the mail, and you can get pretty excited about that. For any figure that you're thinking is 100% going to, go waitlist before it even hits in stock, there's not a lot of figures that do that, but I've had that experience before where I've been disappointed, I've missed out, and, that fear of missing out can be a tricky thing for collectors, right? And so I can understand the pre-order, but for me, I also try and stick with the payment plans on things that are in stock. So then once the payment plan is done, boom, I get it immediately. I don't have to
right
wait
away.
still another 6 months or anything like that. So a little bit of both. As I said, I've pre-ordered in the past of things that weren't coming out for a while, and it feels like you actually can have that experience where you end up talking yourself out of it, because you get to that need versus want. And when I pre-ordered it, I wanted it. By the time I'm getting to the point of waiting for it, it's like I don't think I need it necessarily anymore. And that's when people lose money, which is a gut punch, because that money could be going to figures that you really do want.
That's true. That's true. No, that's a smart. And thank you for kind of clarifying on that perspective.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Sam is saying 90% payment plan. So he likes to pre-order and then pay off his figures before they show up.
Yeah.
But it's a smart way to kind of take it in more bite-sized chunks. So Mark Pearson, go ahead. Too many words.
We share a bank account. She does the billing. I just try not to look at it.
Mark's hilarious.
Let's see.
And we do have our separate bank accounts. Those are our main bank accounts. We have a separate bank account, and then the joint bank account is at a different bank all together. So that's where the tax money goes, right? Like it's not. Yeah, we have 3 different accounts: his account, my account, and then our joint account in different banks, all different banks.
So Sam is saying he owns his own home and cars. There you go. So you got your priorities straight, and you're just enjoying collecting the figures. We got Sean Bean, Steven.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
S Bean.
S
Thanks for
Bean,
coming
that's
through.
right. Let's see. So my cousin J-Mo's in here. He wants the bidet talk back. J-Mo, you just missed all the bidet talk. I'm so sorry.
We were just talking about those the other day too, because I cautioned her that it might come up. So I was like, "What are your thoughts on that?" By the way, just so I know.
Shauna is too classy. We don't want to drag her too down into the mud with us. So Mark's saying unless it's a limited item, he won't pre-order. Yeah, that's a smart strategy. 100%. And then let's see, last one. I missed out on the 1.6 rain course, still on the wait list, hasn't converted. That's kind of the fear if you don't pre-order something, sometimes you could miss out. Normally with Hot Toys, doesn't happen too often.
Is that
but
the ugly one?
The one from Book of Boba Fett that he's riding on. Yeah, no, it's cool. He petted. He likes to be petted.
If she thinks that one's ugly, though, you should show her the Hasbro. What was it called? The one that.
Gosh, yeah.
What the heck is it called now? It's on the tip of my tongue. The ones that you pre-buy everything.
The HasLab.
The HasLab.
That one didn't get funded, right?
It didn't get funded, and people said because it looked kind of like a piece of shit. So
yeah,
if you think that one
was all fucked up,
if you think the Hot Toys one was ugly, you should see that one.
So we got John, the everyday collector, in here. John,
hey,
thanks for joining, man.
Thanks for
Excited
coming
to
by,
get
buddy.
you on too. I heard that you and Danny were going to come aboard as a team next time. So, so Shauna. Okay, so question to you now. Sorry for all the talk. We went a little too deep into the collection talk. So I want to get your perspective on how you balance from a time management perspective, because obviously, there's so many streams, right? There's like this person streaming on Monday and on Wednesday, and like it never stops, and they're all over the map in terms of when they start and stop. So like, how do you guys balance in terms of spending time with one another, and then also letting Ben enjoy some time in the streams?
I feel like Ben's kind of lucky in this sense. I'm super independent. I like to spend a lot of time by myself.
Okay.
Not that I don't love him, but we definitely have our quality time together. But as far as like the day to day, I don't like hanging out in the basement. I don't like basements at all, actually. So, and I don't like this couch, and I don't like the TV, and I just don't really like it down here. So, I would rather be upstairs. So, I mean, I'm good to do my own thing. If he, I know how much this means to him. I know how happy Hot Toys and the podcasts and the community really makes him. And I just wouldn't want to really mess with that. So,
yeah.
I think that. I think between all those things, we just find a balance, I guess. Take it day by day.
That's awesome.
I appreciate it. I mean, recently, Collecting Weekly, Zach, the Oxfather, he awarded me a blue wrench to help with some of the moderating in the chats. And I mean, I was having fun in the chats no matter what. If I had never got that wrench, totally okay. I would have had a great time either way in those, right? But it gave me what felt like a bit of a sense of responsibility to the channel, and just to kind of have extra fun with those guys. So I started saying to Shauna, the Monday and Tuesday shows, like I really want to be on there, and now I want to see Collector Club on Friday for John's channel and or John's segment, and but still, like, maybe Wednesdays and Thursdays I'll catch the occasional After Dark if she passes out or goes to bed early or whatever, right? And the last After Dark, if anybody hasn't seen it, I totally recommend it. Funny show. But again, I think just working the schedule around it, I think it actually helps that some of my favorite channels like Collecting Weekly and even yours do have their shows on times that are kind of easy to navigate, whether if people have kids, they put their kids to bed and then do the After Dark show, for example, and stuff like that. So and just since John is in the chat, John, fellow Canadian, like he connected with me through Facebook 6 months ago and invited me into the Collecting Weekly Auxiliary, and that's kind of really got me started with those guys. It was a really warm invite. He didn't have to do that. He talks to hundreds of people every week. But it made me feel like there was a good personal connection.
In the comments of
100%, totally fine, and I'm always willing to bring him a Timmy Hortons if he needs one. I'll send him one. But just having that connection, and then again, like Zach, who runs the channel, like, man, like he's a busy guy. He's got his family. He's got the channel. They're streaming every night, but they still have the opportunity to connect with me, and like that's cool. I like that. You feel like you've made friends. And even you guys, right? Like, I don't like. We would have never had an opportunity to meet if it wasn't for the community, which is the most important part, 100%.
Completely agree. It's such an awesome community, and yeah, getting to meet people from around the world. I do want to give a shout out since you brought up John's name. He's such a big softie. He plays a tough guy on TV, but he's just such a nice guy. So.
And speaking of, Sam says I'm listening to this with my son right now. Do things together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully we didn't say anything too
awesome.
Inappropriate for your son. Sam.
Shout out to Eli. Eli, your dad said you can pick any toy of his you want.
Close him up.
Yeah. I guess I should say too, like we do watch some of the podcasts together, or like he'll have it in the background, while we're eating dinner or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that too. So I do listen in on them too.
Yeah, playing Sims and stuff like that. If something comes up, it's
go.
like, oh, you gotta check this out.
So you game as well, Shauna?
I have like a few select games that I like to play. One of them is Sims 4. That game is a time suck. I can't only play it for like 1 hour. Like if I'm playing, like I gotta get my drink, my snack, like the good spot on the couch. Like I play it for like 6 to 8 hours straight.
Which is perfect for a Tuesday night Collecting Weekly main show, because I'm like, that's a 3-hour segment almost any way you swing it.
Yeah.
So why don't you play some Sims?
That's awesome. It is so important for us to have like our own hobbies that we can do, on our own and to keep us sane. Quick anecdote, and I know you guys have to hop off really soon, so we'll maybe address the chat and then take one more question. But I got Gigi the remake of Pokemon on the Switch. So nice. I got her Switch, got her Pokemon for Christmas, and she started playing so heavily, right? So we talked about this before on the show. Like she was hooked, like eating
Shauna,
and playing.
I was the same way as you. I was like, I just need my snacks and my drink, and Marco would come in. I was like, give me more snacks. I don't want to like get out of bed. And one time I did tell him, go away. Like I'm trying to
get out of here.
You spoiled it. So right, because she's in law school. Like it was during her break. I was like, I love that she's just kind of going all in. But then I was asking her a question, and she was like, leave me alone. And I was like, oh my, see, I was like, now you know how I feel when I'm playing, and then you come. I love single player games. She loves to talk when there's like dialogue. I'm like pausing it, like, what's up? What can I help you with? So, it's tough. I'm trying to be more patient, but she saw the other side now that it's like when you're in the zone, it's tough to.
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I go through phases though. Like I'll play it. I'll be on like a streak of playing it like every day and like on the weekends and stuff, and then I'll put it down and I won't touch it again for like 3 months. And then Ben will be like, "Oh, weren't you playing Sims? Weren't you building that house?" And then it like puts me right back into it.
And the reason I ask that is because I've got a 3-hour podcast I gotta watch. I gotta be on this channel. It was a house I think you started, wasn't it?
Here's the controller.
Oh my god, that's awesome. So we do have a question from the chat about the figure that's underneath the Stormtrooper. Is that Deadpool? That's over there, over your right shoulder, Shauna?
This one right here?
Mm-hmm.
It's Iron Man Mark 7.
Oh, okay. Is that the one that with the pushed in?
Oh, yeah, well, no longer. He's fixed.
Yeah, I'd offer to take him off the shelf and show you, but I'd probably break his arm or something, so
him.
I'm just going to leave him there.
That's awesome. Okay, so that answers that. And yesterday, Gigi posed up, her first figure. She took the Spider-Man homemade suit, and I think
I
really
was
did
very
it.
good.
Yeah.
That was a great show. That was awesome. I thought it looked really good.
Yeah.
So she might be taking my position on Pose Awards here soon. So let's see. Man, it's so hard to watch all y'all guys doing this streams. Yeah, there's just so much content out there, Quinn. It's just like always a stream. So maybe Gigi, while I catch up with the chat, maybe you can say like how we balance the time. Like, are there any little tricks that we're trying to implement? Because it's tough. Like, we really do like struggle to find time with each other, with her being in school and me, into my hobbies.
I would say that this is kind of our time together. Yeah, I think, and I mean, we take Pancake on WALKs every morning, or we try to, and that's kind of, I started this thing where I was like, I don't want phones around, because as you may know, Shauna, when they're in like the chats and stuff, and it's like they're like, we were talking about with Victoria, and they're it's just like they're cackling like high school girls, and it's just like,
Literally.
hey, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like when we go on walks, I was like, oh my god, sorry, she's
She's
sleeping.
passed
She's
out.
sleeping. I was like, I don't want phones around. So it's just like our time, just like 20 minutes. I feel like we don't ask for a lot. I'm the same way, Shauna, where I'm like, I'm pretty independent. I like spending time with myself. That didn't come out. But I'm the same way and I feel like this is kind of our time together. We both enjoy it. And that's one thing that I said, the moment that this becomes kind of boring or I'm not having fun, then, I'm not going to do it anymore. Although I do say that I'm going to quit like every single
Literally
time.
every time.
Just because the streams, there's so many streams, and I'm just like, I can't do 2 days a week. Like, don't do that to me ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout
Yeah, I
out
feel-
to Equan. Oh, go ahead, Shauna.
What's up, Econ?
It's okay. I feel like just kind of touching on like the time we spend together as well. Like we do electronic free nights where we don't have any TVs, we don't have any like cell phones or distractions, and we sit down and play a board game, or we
Yes.
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 Sorry, distracted there. Yeah, we just have nights where we put things away that would normally distract us or, take our attention away, and we really try to spend just quality time together.
I love
Kinda
that strategy.
Yeah, and we call it electronic free nights.
Yeah. Well, and it was nice even, like, I liked that Collecting Weekly took Valentine's Day off. Like, we're not huge Valentine's Day people, but it was
Yeah,
nice.
same.
It was just an extra night where it was like, hey, you know what? Like, no streams are going on tonight. It's just a replay. I've seen this episode. Like, I'm gonna turn the phone off on a Monday night for once, and let's
And
just
watch
hang out,
Shauna
right?
play Sims 4,
Well, I'm also an avid cross-stitcher, so if I'm not watching the streams
Oh my
and she's...
God,
and
yes,
yeah.
Ben.
So we want to get into that, Ben. Yeah, like tell
Oh.
us more
Yeah.
about the cross
I
stitching, please.
love that. I like
Yeah.
went and like on your Instagram. I
You
was
saw my
like,
posts?
Wow, that's awesome.
You're
I
very
appreciate
talented,
it.
man.
I don't know if you
Thanks,
saw
man.
those, but I would want to buy one of those. Like those are sweet. The
I would
Stormtrooper
gift you
ones.
one before I would sell you guys one,
No,
because
we
they
gotta-
honestly
we gotta
take so
support.
long to make.
The thing about Mexicans is that we hate.
Quite generational.
We get very offended when you don't let us pay you.
No, we that is true, but we have to support the hobby. That way you can keep doing it.
Yeah.
At least buy supplies and.
Yeah.
So
100%.
no, we'll,
Oh my God, yes.
I started a few years back because I was roped into trying to help make. This was previously before I even met Shauna. I was roped into making naughty cross stitches for family right after I'd moved out west, and it was like the way that we could kind of at the time send a gift back to our families without spending a whole lot of money. And it was like, oh, like we'll just make something and send it. Well, for anybody that's ever done cross stitching, you don't realize that like an image that's like only like this big still takes like 16 hours. And so we had about 10 we wanted to make, and like I'm not kidding, like my fingers were bleeding by the end of that month. Like it was brutal. It was brutal. But then shortly after that, decided like, hey, like I've got this app now that helps me to take a photo and render it in a cross stitch design, and then I essentially just like it's counting, right? It's all about counting, and I decided to make a Yoda wearing pink sunglasses with a black background, and that was my first one, and that just it just exploded after that. Then all of a sudden I was like, I can make my own art. Like I don't have to buy prints anymore. If I see a print that I love, like I'll make it, right? And so right now I'm working on one that's a I don't know if Brenton Palmer is in the chat. Brenton Palmer. But Brenton loves Venom, so I've sent him a couple images because I'm doing a Spider-Man comic book cover Venom.
That Venom is looking beautiful.
Holding Spider-Man's head or skull. It's pretty cool. So, but again, it ends up being more reserved for the basement for sure. I've only done one cross stitch for my buddy and his girlfriend. They wanted a picture of them, and so I stared at their nightmarish faces in cross stitch for months before it actually looked like them. Thankfully, they're lovely looking people. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But looking at it in cross stitch form for months,
Nightmare fuel.
Not so good. Nightmare
Absolute
fuel.
nightmare
Uncanny
fuel.
valley until you get it just right. It's got to be.
Literally. Here, I'll just grab it 1 second.
No, please do.
Yeah, those were beautiful. I was like, wow, this is like something I would display. And I think the Stormtrooper has.
I know
the
we're running
pink
short
that
on time
we-
here, guys.
Oh wow, yeah,
That
that's
looks so good.
That's what it looks like now.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
and you have those displayed above your Hot Toys?
Yeah, I do. So after I bought the DX11 Joker, I did the Joker up top. I don't know if you can see it very well. I'll get a better camera at some point here, guys. But
And
we've got a
we're in
colorful
the same boat where we
Stormtrooper.
need to upgrade.
100%. I got a colorful Stormtrooper up there. I've got Grogu holding his little soup can, and I've got the Heath Ledger Joker hanging out his car window in that very iconic
That's
scene.
awesome.
So,
Okay.
but as I said, it's just kind of exploded. Obviously, they don't show up in the rest of the house all that often, as you can imagine. But I've got
Basement activity.
It is.
yeah, but I've got one in the upstairs bathroom, which is like a watercolored Batman that's pink, gray, and like light gold color. So it fits.
okay, pink.
It fits the theme.
Yeah.
It's the only saving grace.
There you go, Shauna. It's like, I will allow it. But
Yeah,
oh, boy.
but I totally recommend it. And when you're watching the podcast and stuff, like if I'm not moderating, then that's usually what I'm doing. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
You're very talented. I was like, wow, I would display this in my living room. I think it was like the Stormtrooper. It had like hints of pink, and so
Yes.
you know that. Yeah, I was like, wow.
Yeah,
this
it's
is-
like a watercolor Stormtrooper, which
yeah,
is pretty neat.
that's
So.
beautiful.
Cool. Well, I will, if you guys like any designs, send them my way. I do take requests, but they do take about a year to make. So,
Oh, wow.
Just so you know.
All right. That's
Yeah.
about a Hot Toys timeline right there. So
the Hot Toys timeline.
I'm
That's
used to
right.
the wait. Well, I know you guys have to get going, so I guess we will wrap here. We'll kind of talk about what's coming up on our channel, and then maybe kick it to you guys to talk about, how you might, become more involved now that you crushed it on your first stream. Would love to hear
thank
maybe
you.
your plans of appearing in more stuff. So,
Sorry, Ben. He was talking to Shauna.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
One,
well.
one of you did really well.
Fair.
One of you all right. So.
Yeah, she's moving slowly to the center. I'm just getting out of the.
Nudging you out of there. So on our channel, we have promised our community, and thank you all for joining, a few unboxings. So we're going to be doing an unboxing of the Razor Crest. We don't know when because, life's been pretty hectic recently, but we'll be doing that. And then also the Golden Armor Wonder Woman. So I think we plan on doing both of those as live streams. We'll give everyone a heads up, so hopefully we can have folks join and talk a little bit more about, Fison anatomy and and the bidets as we do unboxings. So always have a really good time with those. So those are upcoming, and then another episode of the podcast hopefully soon. And then next week on the channel, I will have 1/6 Figure Focus, who's really come out of nowhere to kind of blow up. He's in Ireland. A really great guy, so I'll have him, and Gigi may join, or it might just be he and I. So we're still sorting that out, but another good conversation. So we really just enjoy connecting with folks, and figuring out how people make it work, and how they get into this silly hobby. So, Gigi, anything else on our channel?
Nope.
Okay, she never knows what's
never
going
know.
on. So
I just show up.
that's right.
That's awesome.
She just shows up. She's just the talent here. So yeah. So Ben and Shauna, what do you guys have going on in life in general, and how might you make more of this streaming stuff?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if Shauna will want to make too many more appearances. Like as I said, I kind of roped her into coming on today, but
I know it was asking a lot already.
it was. But I mean, obviously, like we had a great time. Thank you for letting us come on the show. Like that was awesome. That's it was like a life goal to come on a channel at some point. So achieved. So yeah, bucket list. But I think like when you and I have talked about it a little bit, like. There's a lot of folks doing this right now, a lot of channels that are out there. It would never be my intention to oversaturate the market by any stretch, but I really like being part of the conversation. And so if I get an opportunity to come on other shows or even your channel again at some point just to talk figures and look at screenshots and have a laugh and all that good stuff, like I am 100% on board with that. I work for a living.
I'm writing that down because I really enjoyed chatting with you and would love to have you on again.
Yeah. Well, and now that I got the mic, like that was my first foray into investing into YouTube in any way, right? So, but I'm not here to get famous, and I don't think a lot of us are. I think it's just fun to just talk and I love the guys in the chat and the ladies in the chat and everybody that comes through all the time. Thanks to everybody that came. I know I spammed Facebook and Instagram like crazy last night trying to make sure people showed up.
I appreciate you representing. That was awesome.
Yeah, and I've poked Zach on potentially jumping on After Dark at some point or one of the other shows if there's ever a slot. They're getting pretty full panels lately, but I would always have fun shooting the shit with you guys over there as well. So
yeah, I think you easily have replaced Fern at this point. So.
You set a very high bar, emphasis on the high, for sure.
Exactly.
I was going to say easily replace him, and I was going to agree.
Easily replace me as well, yeah. No, Ben is like way more articulate than I am. So.
We'll just split the screen. Don't worry about it.
Right.
If I run out of things to say, we'll just pass it off, vice versa. Yeah.
I like that. I like that idea a lot. So, Shauna, maybe we'll get your thoughts about this collecting, and do you see like an end game in sight for Ben? Like, is he kind of at his limit now, or what are you thinking?
No, I think Ben he'll always collect. I think he's pretty good though at not overwhelming it. So if he really wants something, he tries to see if maybe there's something else he can let go of to make space for it. But I don't know. He's a nerd at heart. I don't think he would ever stop collecting, whether it's figures or whether it's the figures or just other pop culture items. I don't think that he would ever stop.
Absolutely.
And as long as it fits in the basement, I'm okay with it.
So PS5 next, though, right, Ben?
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely a PS5 next. The Horizon game that I'm playing, I think, is losing a little quality on the PS4. Okay. So, 100%. But no, I don't think there'll be an end game for it. And as long as I can fend off the enablers that are out there, because I know you've been enabled lots. Yes. I laugh while I watch it from the chats.
It's tough out there.
Good times. So if I can fight off the enablers and still be part of the community, then heck yeah, I'm all over it.
That's the objective. Love it. And the tough part is they're always making such new content all the time. There's always new figures, always something to collect. So yeah, we'll continue to try to find balance here. So I guess with that, thank you guys again. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And Gigi, why don't you take us out?
Bye.